Hello everybody and welcome back. Today we will talk about the SuiteScript 2.0 uploading our first program to NetSuite and test, make sure everything is working. So what we will talk about is what is the client script. In really briefly about that, we're gonna write the code, then we're gonna go into NetSuite, we're gonna upload our file, we're gonna create a script to the record, and then we will deploy it. And then, of course, we will do a demo and see if our code works. So we're gonna do this with the client script. And if you guys are not familiar with the difference in what the client script is, I will post a link in my description where I talk about in details client script versus server-side script. And if you guys are not familiar, I definitely recommend watching that. But you don't really have to know it. If you just want to see the program, you don't really need to understand much about it. But what the client script is basically it is a script that runs on the client side in front of the screen or monitor, and that's something that is very important to understand later in topics. But in this one, you don't really need to, but this is the script type that we're going to be using. So let's get into our Visual Studio Code and go over the code. Now, I'm not going to write from scratch. It's a simple one, and I was able to do that in 15 lines. And we'll just go over quickly on what each of them is. And if you already know it, you can go ahead and skip it to the uploading part. So what this one is first is our line. I just like to write comments in my code a lot. And so this is just this is not the program that runs it, right? So it's not gonna run anything, it's just a comment. The script ignores it. So, but this is a very good place to put your comment, who wrote this, the dates, what the program does. And of course, again, this is a very short one, so you don't really need much comments on that. Now, this right here from line 2 to line 6 is very important for SuiteScript. So this is what NetSuite will grab and understand what are you trying to upload in here. And this is different kind of things that we will cover more of this, but this is kind of the core and what each script needs to understand and have it in here. So this is the version of the script, the type of script, and this is your module scope. So in this case, it just says same account, which is just understanding the scope and how far you can reach. We will talk about that in more details on advanced topic. Now, this is a client script, so that's what it says in here. You can have different types of script in here, and MapReduce or whatever. There are many different types of script. This one is just a client script, and the version is 2.0. That's what we're going to be using. Now, once you pass that, this is where actually our code starts. This is where execution technically starts with a defined word. And this is, you always gonna have your code start with define. Inside of these brackets, you will put your modules. And in this case, we don't need it, so we're gonna ignore that. And then what we're gonna do, the program will start executing, kind of just not really execute, but that's what it actually goes in and starts going through. Now, and it comes into the function. And so this is the default function. Again, this is the code that you don't edit. This is your program will start from here, and then it's gonna go through all of your functions that you have defined in top. Now, again, it's not gonna execute them yet. It's just gonna go through them. And what it's actually gonna do, it's gonna go and hit this return on line 12. And that's when this actual code starts to run. And in this particular case, depends on your client script type, you will have different functions here. And what this actually does is, because it's a client script, we will have probably, top of my head, I think there's like a 10 or 11 different functions you can have here. And one of them is page init. And again, if you're not familiar with that, I have another video that will kind of go through and explain what those are. This one is page init, and what we're actually gonna do is before the page loads, it will trigger this function, and it will trigger this function. And once it's triggered, it's gonna go and find that function over here and then it's going to go and execute that code and then come back again. Now, kind of think of this functions over here as your trigger points. So in this case, on the client script, it's going to trigger you on page init. You can have on the save record, or you can have on the validate record, or anything that you want to put in here, and it will trigger based on your interaction with the client, with the user clicking the buttons or clicking, selecting different fields and so on. So this is actually your code. This is the function name that you can rename your own, and this is what it goes into here. Now, what I have here on page 10, so again, let's go through the flow again. It's gonna go and go through it. It's gonna trigger on page init. It's gonna go to line number 9, and it's gonna go to line number 10, and then it's gonna trigger this code, which is gonna give you alert to the customer, to the user, and say, hey, hello world. In this case, it's not really gonna do anything except pop up an annoying message, but this can be used to alert or give special instructions to the user, telling them about what needs to do. Now, we don't really specify which account and what it's gonna trigger on. A cash sale, is it gonna go on a different type of record? This is what we do in our deployment, where we specify on which type it's gonna trigger. So I think this is pretty much it. It's enough. Again, we're not gonna go into details. We're gonna work on this more complicated, but this is just a simple for you to understand. Now that we created this file, we can go ahead and upload this to NetSuite. So let's go into our NetSuite account, and if you have this connected to your Visual Studio Code or whichever you're using, you can just push it. But in this case, I'm gonna do it manually. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through 3 different types of stages of how we're gonna make this run, okay, or registered. So there are 3 different steps you need to do. And first is we need to upload that file. Again, I have another video that in details explains what you need to do and what each of those steps do. So in this case, we're going to go through a manual process, and we're going to go and upload the file. So to do that, we're going to go to Documents, Files, and File Cabinet. And you can actually go and skip to the SuiteScripts folder, but I'm going to go into raw main folder. This is where all your files are and how you manage them. So in here, we can go to SuiteScripts folder. That's where you can keep all your folders and files for the scripting. And here you can create, I have other scripts that I've been doing testing on, so please ignore those. So we're gonna click on Add File here. And what it's gonna do is gonna bring up your computer, and you can find where that file, JS file, is located. You can click and select it and click Open. And what it's gonna do is gonna upload it into here, and once it's in here, it's gonna, the NetSuite automatically will give you that internal ID, and you can click on that. And what basically it's gonna do is just gonna bring up your script. Okay, now if you click on that, that's where it's gonna bring up the script. If you click on Edit, you will see that it's gonna bring up that little file upload with the different things that you have, and you can put description in here. You can do different things in here. Again, this is the first step. Once you have your JS file inside here, now you're gonna need to link it, and you need to create a record. At this point, there is no record. It looks like it is, but actually it's not technically. So you have a link URL, which is given right here. And again, I talk about the structure in a different video, which we're not gonna go into details. But now, basically, you need to know is you need to upload the file, then you need to create a record. And so to do that, we're gonna go to Customization, Scripting, Scripts, and create new. If you click on scripts, it's gonna give you the list of all your scripted records. But we're gonna go to new. And in here, we're gonna select that file, which we just uploaded, which is right here. Click that, and then you can click on create script record. And now this is where it comes up with which you can put your whatever you want to do. You can rename it the way you want to. ID, usually there is a specific ways of doing it. I recommend you follow the standard. And what it's gonna do is create an ID. And if right here, you can see it's already found out that you have that API version. And another thing that you can do is you can write a good description here. And after that, you just click save. And again, there is a different ways of doing it. And you can see once you save, you recognize that you have that page init function in there, okay? Now, deployments, there is no deployment because we haven't created yet. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to customization, scripting, and script deployments. Once you click on script deployments, you can select the script that you wanna go against it and click on, so you select the script that you want. There's different types. And then you can click new deployment. Once you select that new deployment, again, that's your script. And what you can do here, and this is very important, is this is where what you're gonna apply against it, what kind of type of record. So applies to, meaning what record type do you want to trigger this on? And we're gonna trigger this on employee record. And notice that in your script itself, it doesn't specify which record you want to do it on. So this is where you actually specify. Again, you can give the ID. Status is testing in the beginning. That's what I recommend doing until you are confident in what you want, and then you can do the released. Event type is if you leave not selected, that's gonna do on all of them. Log level debug, we're gonna leave that for debug, but I will have another video that talks about different log levels. We're gonna leave audience as it is. Since this is status in testing, this is only gonna execute for you. And that's pretty much all you need, and we're gonna click save. And once this is saved, this is actually live now. And now once you go, since we did this on the employee record, we can go ahead and open an employee. So let's go, and I have this an employee record here. So once you click on view, notice nothing is happening, okay? Because we're not triggering this on the view, we only trigger this on edit or save. So when we click on edit, it has to open up that record. So now we click on edit, and boom, hello world. So now we can see that this has been triggered, our script is triggered, and the message is here. And you click OK, you can go back to that. So this is actually doesn't stop your execution. So it technically, a page initializes, it does the, it shows it, and you click OK on here, and you get back to your form that you have. So this is where you can explain to customers different, to users, different things that you want to display or anything you want. So this is basically the simplest way to see if you can trigger your script, and now you can get deeper and add on to your code different functions and interact with your client, with your users. So I hope this kind of helps you, and now you guys know how to upload your program. And if you have any questions or any concerns, or if I skipped anything important, or if it's confusing, please leave a comment, and I will see you next time. Keep on sweeting. Thank you for watching.